Ourselves a Saturday session started. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. We have so much to cover. Folks, it was a massive week. As I've been saying, the momentum behind our community, massive. We are completely tapped in, watching these events play out on a daily basis. We've been ahead. We've been over the target. We've been able to see this coming. We've been able to position our families, our businesses, and our investments for the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. And I'm not just saying that. I'm going to show you guys an article towards the end of this confirming my thesis. And I've shown you guys a few of these articles talking about how many trillions and tens of trillions are about to be transferred to the millennial generation. God help us all. And if you thought that meme coins were just getting started, you'd be correct, because we got a whole lot of money coming to the millennials. And so it's going to be, and as you can see, millennials have different priorities, right? So that's why reset is a fitting term. I do like that one. And we talk about the real estate reset. We see equities. We see digital assets, a new technology, a new asset class, I'm calling it, right? And so this is an interesting opportunity where we're going to see a historical shift just back to the mean, just back to the average is incredible for commodities, incredible for digital commodities, right? Cryptocurrency commodities. And we're talking about XRP and others that bring really unique technological utilities for the regular person to use. And when we focus and look at what Ripple's doing, focusing on solving trillion-dollar problems, we've always said that that's what really turns us on and gets us going. Blockchain gaming is going to be big. I'm sure it is. I used to game tough back in the day. I don't spend any more time on video games, but there's plenty of folks building out, blockchain gaming. That's fantastic. I've always focused my eyes on the payments problem, as Ripple has basically been targeting payments first, keeping the XRP ledger lean, mean, and efficient for payments first. And then, as I talked about in the last most recent episodes, this hub and spoke model, so perfect for the XRP ledger. Let's nail down payments, become the best DEX and source of liquidity in the world, and then we can build out from there. Smart contracts can be built through side chains, other chains, bridges, no big deal. Let's build out the best liquidity in the world on the XRP ledger. I think that's the true vision, as David Schwartz has said himself in his own words, right? His vision early on was these deep, open, public pools of liquidity that people could add to, take from or add to. Now we get to add to these liquidity pools that are being built out on the XRP ledger. And it's tough to confirm. The data is kind of difficult to track the way that they index this data in on the total value lockup for the XRP ledger. We've highlighted how the Stellar network, it only took one asset manager, Franklin Templeton, shows up, tokenized mutual funds, and it takes Stellar to over 400 million of real world asset tokenization, total value lockup, number one spot. And so we're about to see value, liquidity provided to these liquidity pools. But then you're also seeing real world assets are going to start showing up on the XRP ledger now that we got clawbacks. We just got AMM. We're about to get cross-chain bridge. We're about to get decentralized identity. We're about to get, fragmented payments. I forget the actual amendment name. I'm blanking on that. But then we also get price oracles coming up. All of the pieces are being put together. And then we also have all of these smart contract platforms that are just dying to be a part of our community and build off of us, right? Just catch the tailwind of the XRP ledger and to be able to tap into the XRP ledger for the best liquidity whenever you need to, right? This is How, this is Flare, this is this whole ecosystem with Corium, Root Network, all these platforms, even the metaverse. Look at Expector. I personally don't plan on spending time in the metaverse, but the Expector metaverse is one of the best metaverses that looks like is in existence right now. Now, this is just getting started, though. This is truly just getting started. And so I want to remind everybody, this is a reason to celebrate for the XRP community. I'm still drinking. Got myself a cup of black coffee here for a little afternoon coffee. Keep us rocking and rolling. But let's cheers to that. Whether it's 5 o'clock somewhere, I don't know what time it is in Australia, but I did want to give a huge shout out to the XRP community down at the Gold Coast in Australia. We love our Australian community. We have quite a few folks, you crazy Aussies down there that broke free from the kingdom and made it to the land down under. Love the Australians, and God bless all of you. And just so happy to see the XRP community coming in from all over the world for the Gold Coast in real life event, as they call it now, right? As cool as the metaverse is, it's still nice to get together in person. I'm so excited for XRP Vegas. And remember, the light shines down on us, the XRP community, the forgotten ones. Remember, nobody wanted to come save us. Nobody wanted to come lend us a hand when we were getting sued by the SEC. But now that Ethereum's come to the crosshairs, right? Now that proof of stake is coming into the crosshairs, we warned you about that one. And even if you're going to win in court, you got to be ready to go fight it in court. See, everybody that's gotten sued on staking so far has just cut a check. Unlike Ripple, which spent $200 million to fight the SEC and win, combined with the XRP army, John Deaton, who, didn't just represent the XRP community. Now it's time to represent all of America. Not just the people of Massachusetts where John Deaton's going to be running, but all of America. This is incredible, folks. Going after one of the icons of, silliness. Is what I'll leave it at. I'll just leave it at that. One of the icons of silliness here in the United States of America, a falling empire. And you want to talk about silliness, we just get 1.2 trillion passed. Is that the right calculation? We're well over a trillion. We know that. But what's a trillion anymore, right? We only owe, 34, soon to be 35 trillion? Maybe this took it over 35 trillion. Probably did. We're losing track when we track our unfunded liabilities, Social Security, Medicare, taking us well over 150 trillion of unfunded liabilities. So don't worry too much if your balance sheet is struggling or if you got some positions at a loss right now. We've highlighted how jacked up our country is, how jacked up these central bank balance sheets are. They're taking historical losses for the first time ever. The biggest commercial banks in America, hundreds of billions on their bonds. And trillions to deal with on commercial real estate. Good luck solving that problem. It almost would be better to have it wiped out, wouldn't it? Build it back up. Better. I guess that's their slogan, isn't it? Wow, do they have an agenda? And we continue to see the sellout of America. To me, it's not political. It's selling out our children's future. To sign on to this deal, they give it to them less than 24 hours to vote on it. And so we get a shove through a 1,000-page bill, and it's funding all sorts of silliness. I'm just going to leave it at that. Silliness. But let me bring this back to what I was saying, though. The light shines down on the XRP community. We got John Deaton standing up. We got digital asset investor Brad Kimes meeting with senators, Chuck Grassley, presenting evidence, documents, and a timeline that's never been in dispute. And now we're supposed to go sing Kumbaya and go to the Ethereum gang and protect them for some reason. After nobody lent a handout to us. And it wasn't even, they didn't offer help. They didn't want to, they actually kicked us while we were down. That's what's so messed up about this whole situation and why it's so hypocritical. They kicked us while we were down, called us centralized, called us crap, said all sorts of stuff. We fought through. We won. We are winning. All that's left to be determined in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit is, did Ripple successfully structure their contracts without making them investment contracts? It's that simple. It's a slap on the wrist fine for Ripple. There shouldn't be any slap on the wrist because none of the investors were damaged or hurt at all. It's just, and they have grounds to appeal even on the sales that did happen to institutional investors. Depending on how those contracts were structured, I don't know. We know there's been a lot of pre-allocation contracts, or at least a few. We can confirm a few, right? Worth billions of XRP. Cough, cough, R3, right? We all forgot about that one. R3 tried to get 5 billion. That was a pre-allocation contract. Deals like that, okay, I could see the ruling. But for the most part, we've won this case. We know XRP is not a security, which is all that matters. Whether it's going to be a currency, a commodity, a new form of digital currency, a virtual currency, digital token, whatever you want to call it, is a currency and a commodity by definition. And whether or not we create a new government body or agency to regulate it, that's going to be determined by Congress, I guess, at some point. Until then, the SEC is fighting to choke out the whole place and take it all as their turf. This is the turf war right now with the SEC. Now it's all coming out, right, that they're potentially going to be stepping on the toes of the CFTC if they try to rule Ethereum a security. And you know how Gary likes to wiggle around, and he's going to have his reasonings. He's an MIT expert on blockchain. We all thought he was going to come in and change things up, right? And he completely has just been beholden to the group, a party, interests that are not the American people, right? And so this is where it's not political. This is a matter of saving America. This is bigger than XRP. This is bigger than crypto. This is actually the corruption of our capital markets and the regulatory capture of said capital markets. But it actually extends out further than that because we have other three-letter agencies, part of a bigger bureaucracy beast that now needs $1 trillion every 6 months to stay funded, not including the bill that we've already racked up. Guys, the bill that our tab is $150 trillion and counting. And we got the national debt at $34 trillion, right? That's just part of it. That's just staying afloat. And now it's become normal to run $1 trillion deficits every year. And it's not political. It's just a program of selling out America from both sides of the aisle. And so we're going to have to continue to put up a fight. And if you're with me on this, I just want to say thank you so much. I'm here to remind you that our momentum is massive. Our community already has plenty of deal flow. It only gets better. This transfer of wealth that I'm going to talk about at the end of this episode, there is no competition. This is our time. If you're tuned in and listening with me right now, we can get ourselves educated. We can find ourselves a program, focus on our skills to absolutely get to the opportunities. There's so many right now. Let's get right on into the episode, folks. Starting off here with crypto. I see we already got 1,000 in the chat between Twitter and YouTube. I just want to say thank you for stopping by. If you guys could share out the video, I'd really appreciate that. Make sure we like it. And you guys already know that everything can be found on my website, zachrector.com. There's our chart on the daily. You guys see it? We got it. 17% correction. Chopping sideways. I'm zoomed in here on the daily. We just did a 15% pullback back here, right at the beginning of the month. Okay? So a little pullback. Now we're chopping sideways for Bitcoin, watching this thing at 64,800 back up today. This is the daily chart. Once again, Ethereum just below 3,400, and I'm only going to show you XRP as far as cryptos go. It went back above 63 cents briefly, and it is chilling right now at 62.5 cents. Okay. Now we're going to take a look at this, not the bonds. I wanted to go to our stocks. We're going to take a look at NVIDIA pushing back up here towards all-time high. Okay. And then we're going to take a look at our indices, and that would be the S&P 500 did go achieve a new all-time high this week. Okay. Market closed on Friday, back down on to finish off the week on the daily, but actually was up on the week. So if you zoom out on the weekly chart, it was another winner for the S&P 500. Dow Jones, although it finished off the week back down hard, you see here it was up on the week as well. So despite the fact that we got that hot inflation, market just thinking that the Fed's going to go dovish eventually, right? Still pricing in a few rate cuts, and they're sending it on the stocks. There still is a lot of capital to deploy here still, which is very interesting about this situation. And this has been happening at the same time that the DXY actually grew this week as well, now above 104 to finish off the week. That's pretty impressive for the dollar index here. Okay. So back to a level that we haven't seen. This is since February, right? Okay. So interesting to note, we've been able to see crypto though still rallying. I mean, we were back down, I guess, on the weekly basis for Bitcoin. We did go back down this week, right? But still holding very strong. And these dips are all getting bought up. For XRP, remember, it did wick down to 56 cents this week. And it keeps on doing this. And remember how quickly these moves happen. It's going to be the same way when this thing goes up, right? And so please consider having multiple plans. This is why we've been talking about learning the DEX. We talked about it this morning with the AMM. I'm going to get more into that later in this video. But make sure that you got your options open right now, because this is a liquidity crisis that's unfolding. A lot of these issuers, I'm not a fan of counterparty risk right now. I continue to say, what am I stacking up on? Not here to give you financial advice, but I'm stacking utility with no counterparty risk. It includes my precious metals that I don't have to rely on anybody else to keep track of. And it includes my cryptocurrencies like XRP and others, right? As well. Cash, food essentials. So you guys already know the deal, because utility with counterparty risk is how I can ensure, control, safety, security. Meanwhile, we start to look, I'm going to get more into it later with the AMM and everything. There's only going to be more scammers coming our way, so just make sure that you're prepared for that. Before we get to that, though, there's some current event stuff that we have to go through. It was a massive, massive event here yesterday with Russia getting attacked, terrible terrorist attack, and the most recent tally was about 133 dead. Really unfortunate, and our prayers go out to these people and everyone affected in this event. This event taking place yesterday in Russia. Vladimir Putin coming out here suggesting that Ukraine, remember, I'm just reporting this statement here from Mr. Putin. I'm not confirming nor denying. I'm just reporting the statement here, the first response from Mr. President Putin. He's, blaming Ukraine, saying that they were helping this take place. Okay. So I'm not even going to read his statement. I'm just going to leave it at that. You guys already know the deal. I've been watching this Netflix documentary. It's been interesting. The one on the bomb, the Cold War, and the idea of did it ever stop, right? And this ongoing event that's unfolding that the markets are oblivious to, right? See, crypto's pumping, meme coins are pumping. I'm on here last night at, 9, 10 o'clock at night trying to figure out how to earn a little bit of yield on my XRP, right? Meanwhile, take a look around us, folks. It's going down. This is unbelievable. And the turbulence in the markets has been felt with volatility mostly to the upside. It's been mostly to the upside. World's bad stuff happens, markets pump. Inflation's still hot, markets pump. This is an upside down reality. And markets are completely oblivious to this. Most folks are going to get left behind, though, when the system does finally break. It's going to be nasty. It's just like we've seen in these last cycles. Nothing new under the sun is about to happen. It's just this time it's way bigger. The amount of derivatives exposure, way bigger. The amount of debt, way bigger. 10 times, 100 times bigger. We're using 100x leverage in crypto. Continuing on with crypto, folks. So a little bit of correction I want to state. I did report on this morning, and now we got a little bit more clarity. The European Union bill bans anonymous crypto payments over 3,000 euros using self-custody wallets. So we reported on this one this morning. I didn't have all the information. And so it was initially getting reported that this was a self-custody ban. But I guess this is just a limit on the amount of anonymous crypto payments over 3,000. So they're really trying to hone in and not allow you to send money more than 3,000 without doing KYC, which is very common. I mean, this is the move here. And you can see we have this one right here from Smoke Dog on Twitter. Looks like 3,000 euros is the magical number because that's also the amount being proposed as the limit for the digital euro CBDC, just like the limit for crypto wallets. And I continue to highlight how in other jurisdictions, you guys are up against a different battle. Here in the United States of America, we're battling a serious DC agenda, right? In other jurisdictions, they're already moving faster. And the European Union is one example of that, where they're moving faster with legislation on crypto, but they're also extending your limits and restrictions and the rules on what you can do with that crypto. So while we initially reported, okay, is this, them trying to ban self-custody? No, it was them trying to not allow you to send more than 3,000 with crypto anonymously. They're coming to track it all. And please remember that this is all public blockchains, right? Unless you're on a privacy coin, unless you're doing other deals, right? I don't do any of that. I understand that these are all public immutable ledgers, right? So I don't really play around with my stuff too much. I have added liquidity to the AMM. I consider that kind of playing around. But I understand, everything here that we're doing on blockchain is being recorded, right? And so what they want to do is strict in, and you're going to see this go further in other countries. It's going to be interesting to see the CBDC fight here in the United States, but you're watching in other jurisdictions, they're already way ahead. Social credit score and everything. We're got a serious resistance here in the United States of America against the CBDC, but it's not going to stop them from trying to push one through. right? And now we even see it from the Fed now in their own white papers about how they want to speed up their processes for the payment system. They're talking about the Fed now faster payments task force and their objectives and everything there. So they're already moving in that direction of faster payments and going to real-time settlement. Whether or not we get a CBDC in America is going to be very, very interesting. Couple data points here from bar chart on these equities markets and where we're at in this cycle, folks. And 1 second, before I get to that, I did see that we got some super chats. I want to give a huge shout out because that's 200 of a currency that I don't recognize. Dr. Nirmal Ra, I appreciate that, my friend. 200 of whatever currency that is. Appreciate it. Really do. Hey, Zach, any thoughts on CHRP? Chirply AI token, great team, deflationary, real world revenue. On their Twitter, they've announced deals with Nvidia, Google, Microsoft. It is up 30%. Okay. I will have to take a look at that one. CHRP. I will have to take a look at that one. And I appreciate the support, Nirmal Raj. I will take a look at that and I will report back in one of the next videos. I've never heard of that token, but I definitely will take a look. Usually I can do about 60 seconds review of a project and I can tell whether it's worth still investigating or not. With these cryptos, there's just a few things that I look for. If they check the boxes, then I go into real due diligence on it. But I'll take a look at it because I'm always interested in hearing about new opportunities. I appreciate that. Appreciate the super chat. U.S. stock funds just saw a weekly outflow of $22 billion, the largest outflow since December of 2022. Now, I've been warning about this here, folks, is we're seeing the insiders sell off while U.S. households are currently allocating 48% of their financial assets to stocks, their highest equity exposure since March of 2000. Anything interesting happened in March of 2000? You guys remember that one? So that's what's interesting. I was younger. Going through middle school and high school during the last great financial crisis. So I was kind of starting to learn, but I was kind of oblivious to what was going on. But now I look back and I can see, I remember parts and things that I saw with families and businesses that I know, parts of the great financial crisis. And now that I look back, studying that history, right, it all is perfectly aligned. And then obviously in 2000, I barely remember 9/11, right? I was 6, 7 years old when 9/11 occurred. And so, barely remember that event, but I do remember, that moment in time. And we start to look back on all the data too, right? Not only is the same situation playing out here in the equities, we also see the war building out as well too. And that's what concerns me, is the potential for this war to escalate over, and we have multiple battlefronts too. See, it's not just us against one country. It's not us in a declared war with a very clear objective. It's this ongoing war that's fought in 5D, right? I mean, it's fought at multiple levels, cyber attacks taking place, all sorts of parts to this war that are unfolding. There's a lot more undercover sabotage type of activity taking place as well. And so you see this, you combine all this, this is going to be an unprecedented run up in the equities. I don't know how much longer it goes. And then the collapse under this is going to be absolutely brutal. And most of the main street now has piled in to the same stocks. There is no breadth. And so this is why ripping the Band-Aid off this is going to be very painful. It's going to be fatal for some. And this is what I'm talking about. The insiders are selling off. Meanwhile, U.S. households are getting in. I'm not just saying this, folks. I have data to back this up. Meta insider trading alert. What have we been saying about Mark Zuckerberg? He shows up to the USC event so that he can look cool with the kids, right? Do his little dance, doing his little UFC. And, but what is he doing in the background? Well, he's dumping another $380 million worth of Meta shares over the past 2 weeks and has now unloaded roughly $1.9 billion since November, and he's building the bunker. He's cashing out and building the bunker. And so the American people are getting set up, right? Completely set up, thinking that everything's A-okay. And they don't understand the level that this conflict has now gone to just within the last 24 hours. I believe that we're going to look back on this moment in history. This is incredible. Now, I say all that is where I'm about to go into the XRP ledger AMM. We got liquidity flowing, how bullish we are on XRP. after acknowledging that this is unbelievable what's taking place out here, right? We have to be able to understand that and how it's going to relate back to us, our family's business and investments. That's the only reason why I talk about the current events. I don't just come on here to rant and hear myself talk. I want us to be able to relate it back to our business and investment thesis. Why? It pays to be a crazy, theorist, because when you put this stuff together and you can get ahead of the game and position yourself, you're ahead of the retail. You're ahead of the mass adoption that's coming into digital assets. If you're in crypto, you are early. Now, let's talk about it. We're praying right now. The energy's heavy. Had a great session today in our Discord weekly call, 2-hour session. Powerful energy. It's same thing. We're talking about the craziest stuff taking place, talking about how we get started investing in real estate, how we start getting something cooking, because we got to fight the battle every day, no matter what battlefield you're on. You got unique challenges and problems in your own life, right? And we are part of this broader war that's also being fought. And they don't want you and me to get into a position where we can actually put up a resistance. They don't want us to have financial freedom, where we can get freed up to actually start to question, to actually be freed up in our minds to be able to think for ourselves. They don't want us to be doing that. They don't want us to be financially free. They don't want us to be thinking for ourselves. They want us to live a life of no purpose. You'll own nothing, have a good time. So for us, we're able to put all this together into our investment thesis. And I'm going to tell you right now, what is one of the biggest problems that this world faces? Liquidity. We have $2 trillion in the FS market on a daily basis that gets exposed to risk and potential payments. There's still about 5-6% fail rate on cross-border payments in the world. And the FX market is about $7 trillion daily. The FX market is just one of the $1 trillion markets which can now make its way to the XRP ledger, where you're going to be trading currencies against each other on the XRP ledger. Okay. We did not expect this to be a pump. Okay. This is why the last live that I did, I said XRP AMM pump ? And then I answered the question by saying no, but this is a fundamental piece of utility infrastructure that puts us on a trajectory of growth, of real world assets coming on chain and liquidity starting to move on the XRP ledger. Deep public pools of liquidity that are open and public for everyone, that are the same ones that these institutions can tap into if they want to. And we're seeing that they do. Look at the Franklin Templeton Stellar example. Tokenizing mutual funds on the Stellar network, it's over 400 million. Now, within the last couple hours, I'm seeing mixed reports, but it looks like we have at least surpassed about $1 million worth of total value lockup or total liquidity provided for the AMM liquidity pools on the XRP ledger. So within less than 24 hours, folks, we have already hit $1 million in the XRP ledger AMMs. Earlier today, I checked the Stellar network AMM, and it was at about 17 million worth of liquidity. And I believe that the XLM USDC is the largest pool by size. And there's many other pools. And I was telling you guys, in preparation for this AMM, I started playing on the Stellar AMM so I could get a feel for how it worked. And the assets that I added were XLM and Stronghold. And I've also added XLM and Aqua as well. Okay. So the beautiful thing about these AMMs for me, the reason why I'm interested in doing it is it's a way to hedge between two assets that you want to hold. You get to hold two, shares that are representing, two sides of this pool, right? These two different assets. And I want to hold both these assets in the case of XLM and Stronghold, XLM and Aqua. And I get to hedge the volatility between the two by providing that liquidity between that trading and collecting my fees. And the pool balances itself out. Now, we're already seeing massive arbitrage opportunities on the XRP ledger. There's not many issuers. There's not many stable coins issued. There's not many assets that are issued. There's over 8,000 tokens. But as far as like stable coins, there's only a couple, few issuers that are really respected in the XRP Ledger space. And GateHub is one, Bitstamp is another, Casino Coin, is the first asset that I added to on the XRP Ledger. I went into Casino Coin and XRP. Why? Because I don't mind holding both those assets, right? And I wanted to be able to joke at Daniel that, I kind of view it like gambling. So I figured how perfect that I could add to the XRP and the Casino Coin liquidity pool first. And so I wanted to make Daniel proud. And that's a little inside joke between me and Daniel. I like to poke at him a little bit. He's a good guy. And here's the deal, guys, this is just the start. Within less than 24 hours, we got 1 million flowing. It's nothing. It's true. It's nothing. See, the haters and the gatekeepers are already trying to show up and say, oh, that this is nothing. The institutions didn't show up. It wasn't a flip of the switch for the price. No one really was expecting that. Most adults in the room weren't expecting that. But the adults in the room understand that this is a key piece of critical infrastructure. And we're already seeing, guys, memes are already showing up. I'm already seeing pre-sales on the XRP Ledger. You got to be careful out here. Folks are going to get themselves in trouble. Okay? You need to understand if you're participating in an investment contract, right? And I'm just going to leave it at that. Stay safe. And you need to know who your issuer is, right? So this is what I plan on doing for the XRP Ledger AMM is I'm going to move into these liquidity pools on assets that I want to own. Reaper's already one of those, right? I've held Reaper for a while. I bought Reaper after I interviewed Patrick Riley for the first time. I had him on my show. I've had him on the show a few times, and I purchased Reaper after I, introduced my audience to Patrick, and we shared his story on what he was building over there. And now his Reaper ecosystem has grown way bigger, and now he's got the drip fund coming, and that's the only, asset that's been paying me passive income in XRP is I'm getting this drip fund right now just for holding the Reaper token. See, I'm telling you, there's going to be so many perks and benefits of being an XRP holder because everybody wants to build around us. We're going to have the best liquidity. So they want to do airdrops to us. They want to give us drip funds. That's what we're getting from Reaper. And now he's got, 4 or 5 other platforms that make up the Reaper ecosystem. That's just one example of real businesses, right, being built on the XRP Ledger. And for me, a way to, put these assets to work, I don't really care. I haven't taken such a significant position in these coins that I'm expecting these massive wealth, these massive gains on, right? If I did, sure, that'd be great. But I might as well put it to work. And that's my thinking on these issued assets on the XRPL that were already very small holdings for myself. It's kind of like they're just sitting there. Might as well put them to work. And so that's how I'm approaching this. I believe that, and I am trying to figure out how to arbitrage a little bit. I'll be honest, I'm trying to work a little bit more on that, but I'm not technically savvy. I'm not like David Schwartz, who's already got algorithms built out to trade these things, right? So this is where the devs and the arbitragers and you're going to have very sophisticated traders come in. You have to understand, guys, this gets so crazy. I believe that Ripple already has algorithms and well, we already know from the court documents that they have bots, that they're already using algorithms. And now with the power of AI, you can make them even more powerful. So, excuse me. So I firmly believe that Ripple is already ready to deploy trading bots and basically provide liquidity for the XRP Ledger AMM. David was already talking a couple of days ago about how he just deployed the same bot basically that he made for the XRP Ledger AMM. He deployed it on Solana, and I think he got it to spit out a decent return, right? And so David, he's like obsessed with this, the DEX trading and arbitraging and trading and stuff like that, and building algorithms and bots for it. And so you're going to have the sophisticated players like David Schwartz. Think about the biggest hedge funds in the world, right? That have whole teams of quants using AI algorithms and all of the best resources and minds in the world to try to dial in all of this, right? And now the XRP Ledger's free game. See, the XRP ledger is wide open right now. It just opened up, and those that come early, could potentially see some benefits from doing so. And I think that the tailwind of institutions that are going to start to use the XRP ledger is what's going to drive XRP price up through this bull run to new all-time highs, right? And I'm just being very, very conservative with my expectations on XRP. I'm not even talking craziness, right? Please understand, we're only at $1 million of liquidity. We're not going to be flowing $1 trillion through this thing tomorrow, next week, next month, maybe not even next year. Honestly, if we're being honest, Ripple could turn it on. Ripple and other institutions could turn it on. We know how big these markets are. And that's what I always talk about, right? Is these markets are trillions of dollars on a daily basis. So we don't have to get all of these markets, but if we just start to get a little piece of this action, just like with Stellar, if we just get one asset manager to pick our network, I mean, the total value lockup, Stellar went above 400 million. So you're not even talking about that much total value lockup of real world assets that has been accomplished across the broader cryptocurrency space. That's how early we are. And folks want to hate on XRP just because us crazies in the XRP community think that we might get a little bit of the action. That's it. Sure, there's a lot of us that, say all the money, people that actually think we're going to get all the money or all of these markets or all of cross-border. But I think that the most reasonable are just expecting us to get pieces of this action. As I've said, we're prepared to handle all the money. We've set up a robust, lean ledger for payments. So efficient, so cheap, almost infinite scalability, right? And this is what we've accomplished on the XRP ledger. Now we're finally getting our utilities. We didn't have any of these utilities before. It's truly is a new reality now for the XRP ledger. And the rest of the folks are starting to learn that we even have this stuff going on. Most folks don't even know that XRP ledger has a DEX. And so now everybody in the rest of the space, they're going to be seeing the light shine down on Ripple and XRP as we defeat the FCC. We have clarity that XRP is not a security. And now we have AMMs and DEXs that work flawlessly. This is our reality now, guys. Sure, there's some hiccups. There's 5 different main platforms right now for accessing the AMMs. They're not all working great. I had to go through a couple and I landed on one and, I had a couple issues. But I was able to work through it. And I'll tell you right now that as soon as I was able to get to the platform that I ended up using, basically logged in with my wallet and I uploaded to the liquidity pool in less than 60 seconds. It's super simple. I'm going to be very cautious though. Here's the thing. I don't want any of this to be misconstrued as financial advice. Like I'm saying, you have to do this. And I don't want to I'm not trying to direct anybody's movements of their assets or crypto. So please understand your own risks. And I'm not here to say that this is for everybody. But if you know how to move crypto a little bit, I found the process to be very simple. I had to go through a couple platforms. Anados didn't have interoperability with Zaman, which is that wallet that I was using. And I'll just say this, I shared a quick little checklist with my Discord group. The main thing, guys, just don't make sure that you're not playing with your main bag, right? A lot of folks, right, only have maybe 1 or 2 XRP wallets. Make sure that when you go to interact with this stuff, that maybe you consider setting up a separate wallet address that doesn't have your million XRP on it or whatever it's going to be, right? Consider that's the main thing that I would warn about. And then the second thing is knowing who these issuers are. There's already a bunch of projects coming out of the woodwork to take advantage of us. So please understand that. There's already 8,000 tokens on this ledger. Not all of them are on the up and up. Many are scams. And so these platforms right now, they're working out the kinks. But I'm going to tell you right now that it's been seamless. It's been just as easy to use as Uniswap, which is the biggest AMM, I believe. It was the first, and it's a layer 2 on Ethereum, right? It basically has a DEX and an AMM built into it. And so it's just as easy, but you're not paying $30 gas fees. I went to move, last night, I went to move 5 USDC on Ethereum. And I was going to move it trying to fund one of these wallets or exchanges or do something. I was playing around last night trying to figure everything out, right? I was testing a transaction. I went to test 5 USDC over the Ethereum network. My gas fee was going to be 3 USDC. I was going to get 1.5 USDC trying to send 5 USDC. What is that? That's a joke. And this is what I'm saying. We're going to separate ourselves from the rest of the space right now with legal clarity and with this utility and the functions actually working and being cheap. See, not only is it working, and some are basically saying that it's more efficient. There's no front running. It's a much more safe AMM, DEX than some of these others. But please understand that there's going to be all sorts of people coming out of the woodworks. There already are. Okay, so just know your issuer. Don't play around with your main bag. Those are the 2 big warnings that I would give you. And if you know how to move crypto around, it's actually pretty simple. There's 5 platforms or more. There's going to be way more coming too that allow you. They're basically user interfaces for the AMM. And I think that eventually this comes where the exchanges themselves are all going to do that for you as well, where you'll just be able to hit the button, select which pool you want to do, and it'll be integrated right into Uphold. It'll be integrated right into Coinbase and your favorite exchange. I believe that that's the route that many of these exchanges are going to go, where they're just going to do it for you. But doing the process yourself with, one of these wallets, either you can use your Ledger, you can use Zamin, you can use Crossmark, right? It's actually really easy. I found it to be like I said, Antidote didn't let me log in through Zamin, and I had a problem with Orchestra, and so I ended up going to a different one, and it was 60 seconds, and I was in and I had funded Casino Coin and XRP. Okay. Now, if you want to learn more, I'm going to put the link for this down below in the description of this video, folks. Folks want to know, how am I going to get rich? How do I do this, right? What's the next 1000X? Let's learn, okay? So welcome to the XRP Ledger community. This is a deep dive into XRP Ledger DeFi. I haven't taken this, but I am going to. Okay, this is on my list this week. I'm going to take all of these lessons, these 5 lessons, so you can learn about the inner workings of decentralized finance, including safety and security, auto bridging, pathfinding, liquidity pools, and more, right? I am still actively learning about this process, okay? And I just continue to reiterate that this is a learning process for everyone, even the platforms that are putting this out. So this is risky, right? This is opening you up, and this is why I say don't use your main bag holding. Maybe consider using a play around wallet, right? Okay. And we have on Monday, this is going to be absolutely massive. David Schwartz and Jazzy Cooper coming to hang out with the XRP community on an X Space, going to be on Monday, March 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern. I will definitely be tuning in and listening to this. This is going to be massive. They're including Acceler Network and Orchestra Finance, which is one of the platforms for AMM. Huge shout out to Orchestra. Acceler, they are bringing stable coins to the XRP Ledger. Going to be very interesting to watch this and listen in on this space here. David Schwartz and Jazzy Cooper, who is lead product manager at Ripple. That's going to be on Monday, folks. Going to be big. Okay, speaking of big, here you go. Folks think that I'm just pulling this out of my you-know-what. Folks think this is just a meme. Folks think that I just want hype and clicks. $90 trillion transfer of wealth begins, creating richest generation in history, in human history, report. A seismic shift of wealth is beginning in the U.S., which will create the richest generation in recorded history, according to a new report. The global real estate consultancy firm Knight Frank is releasing its 2024 wealth report, and it finds boomers. Well, God bless the boomers. They're going to hand $90 trillion in assets to millennials over the next 20 years. This is actually assuming, though, that we don't get that big market correction, that big market crash. This is assuming that everything's going to remain as is. Uh-oh. Us millennials are going to be thinking that we're coming into 90 trillion until that gets cut in half. Uh-oh. Or they just inflated it away. Maybe this will actually grow, but what's your grocery bill costing you these days? It's already getting crazy, only going to get worse. Iterated by the $1 trillion deal we just passed in our government last night. That number is higher than other estimates, which have pegged the transfer at somewhere between 53 to 84. So depending on who you ask, 53 to 84. They're saying 90 in this report. Do you get the point, though? How much damn wealth is about to be transferred, folks? This is your opportunity. And this is an opportunity even if you're on the boomer side, right? You get an opportunity to do something with your wealth, to be a part of this transfer. Whether that's setting up your grandkids or, grandkids are troublemakers and you're not going to leave them with the estate. Well, you can do something else great with that wealth, right? This is something that we're all going to be participating in. See, this is like I talk about the participation trophy economy. Everybody's going to participate in this transfer of wealth right here. It's just a matter of what side of the equation are you going to be on. And the only thing that limits us is our health and, our life. As long as we live, God willing, right, we can take advantage of this. But we're gonna have to work to get on the right side of this transfer of wealth. It's already underway. Regardless, by 2030, millennials are expected to have 5 times as much wealth as they have today, according to Coldwell Banker. How about that? If millennials do nothing, they're going to have 5 times the amount of wealth. It follows after a rough ride for the generation, which has suffered the consequences of the 2008 financial crisis in an era of money printing that has significantly lowered the purchasing power of the dollar. Yeah, it's going to get a whole heck of a lot worse. It's actually accelerating the pace. According to Knight Frank, there's evidence that millennials blame prior generations for creating the uphill battle they now face. Yeah, well, I tell you what, sure. Are some boomers to blame? Sure. The other generations? Sure. Generation X, I guess. Sure. Yeah. We all have our flaws. And I'll tell you what, my millennial generation, this is why I say there's no competition, folks. A lot of these guys, are going to be living in the metaverse, let alone coming out here in the real world and getting a deal done. But hey, they'll be able to collect that UBI check. They'll be able to make, maybe they'll be able to make money playing blockchain games. There you go. And no problem there. And I'm not going to hate on that hustle. If that's what you want to do, God bless it. And despite being tagged as lazy, well, I would admit that myself as a millennial. My generation definitely is. A 2023 report from Alliant Credit Union found millennials are actually the most fiscally motivated and responsible generation, largely out of necessity. We're starting to get smarter. Work ethic, still questionable, still kind of soft. That's just me speaking my opinion. But fiscally motivated, absolutely. We're starting to get smarter and we're starting to realize, oh crap, we're not going to be able to do the same program that our parents and our grandparents did, right? That's a fact. And so we are waking up to that. Alliant also says 53% of millennials believe they'll receive $350,000 or more from their parents, while the boomers say they plan to give $250,000 or less. Now that's an interesting one right there. I like that stat. The discrepancy between what the millennials think they're going to get and what the boomers are actually going to put in that will. Whoops. As for what it takes to join the top 1% of earners in America, Knight Frank says it now takes $5.8 million to join the club. Wow. Wow. They're saying to be in the top 1% of earners in America, 5.8 million? That's a lot more, because typically the numbers that I've seen is the top 1% of earners is 400,000, give or take. I don't have the most recent data on the last couple of years, but that's what I thought it was, like 400,000. But now they're saying 5.8 million. I tell you what, somewhere in between there is what it takes if you want to be able to retire. That's for dang sure. Yeah, it says that number is 700,000 higher than it was just 1 year ago. Yeah, well, yeah, this has not been an even transfer of wealth, I'll tell you that much, right? And that's why I like that stat, the discrepancy between what the millennials think they're going to get and what the boomers plan on giving, right? And that's just assuming that the wealth is still there. If we get any sort of significant wealth correction, and we already did, I reported on this, what was that, in 2022, American households lost $5.9 trillion worth of wealth during the stock market correction. I can't remember if that was 22 or 20. I think it was 22. They lost 5.9 trillion. Right. So, these estimates put us at 50 to 100 trillion. We can round up, right? Let's assume that the markets keep going back up. Maybe we'll reach that $100 trillion mark, right? That's going to be transferred down. Nonetheless, you get the point. It's time to get your program set straight. And maybe start treating Grandpappy a little bit better. And I love my family. I have a great relationship with my family, and very thankful and blessed with my family. But I'm not inheriting a castle, right? I always say I was given a hand-me-down pickup truck when I got started with my little property service business, little hand-me-down Ford F-250. And that's all I needed. And I was rolling down the road. We started making money, and the rest is history. And now we're not looking back. We only look forward at the massive amount of opportunity that our community has before us. More opportunity than we can even get to. And the one thing I would caution is hopping around from the next cool thing to the next cool thing. He or she who gets focused first and stays focused longest will win most. That's the motto that I stick to. And I think that for all of us in an age of internet, TikTok, crypto, memes, we got to stay focused on what we can get the best return on. We have to understand our risk tolerance, where we're at, and it's time to get serious, because I'm telling you, this transfer of wealth has already started. This transfer of wealth is already underway before XRP goes to 589, before XRP even goes to $1. This transfer of wealth is happening right now. This is why, for folks that think that our program has been to sit on XRP, hold our little XRP bags, pray to the XRP gods and David Schwartz every night that we're going to flip the switch. That has never been our program, ever. Never. And this is why we talk about the current events, all of the financial markets, including the equity stock market, heavily looking right now, and we're moving on private equity. That's where the real money's made. Private equity, real estate, precious metals, digital assets, and understanding where we're going to bring value to the marketplace in exchange for dollars or whatever currency you want to get paid in. Okay? I don't know if you guys are ready to start accepting XRP or silver. It's difficult right now as, we transition. Eventually, though, I think that the possibilities are really endless. The issued assets coming to the XRP ledger is going to be massive. And that's what I'm most looking forward to for the XRP ledger, is respectable issuers coming to the XRP ledger that actually are going to be legitimate issuers that we can trust. And the main thing that I'm looking at right now is who's going to lead with transparency as far as these issuers go. It would be very easy for them, just like the spot Bitcoin ETFs are doing, right? All of those funds, this is how we're tracking that BlackRock has over 200,000 Bitcoin. Fidelity has another 150,000 Bitcoin, is because you can just track it on the wallet addresses, right? On these blockchains. And so there's no reason why they couldn't just say today, hey, we've issued Bitcoin and here's our Bitcoin wallet. You can see that we actually have the Bitcoin here. It's very easy to do, right? Same thing for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all these other coins that are issued, right? And as we get more real world assets, those who lead with transparency, I think, are going to garner the most amount of the market cap that comes into this space in the battle over stable coins. Because anybody can issue a stable coin, right? I could issue US dollar on the XRP ledger. And this is what I'm saying. If I did, and then I show you guys my bank account, hey, I say that I have $1 million in this bank account backing Zach Rector's US dollar token on the XRP ledger, and I can show the wallet. Just be transparent. And this is how you lead with transparency. I think that you're seeing that with Circle right now. See, Circle, they hold a lot of T-bills, a lot of treasuries, and cash on hand to back the USDC holdings, right? They back it by US dollars or equivalents, T-bills essentially, right? So this is something that they're putting out, a self-attestation on a monthly basis so that we know that Circle has a backing. Where's Tether's backing? Well, that's the big question that we've been asking. That's the $1 trillion question in this space still, is where is Tether's reserves? Not from a shady audit firm out of the Bahamas, please. We know who else was in the Bahamas. How'd that program work out? Can we get a respectable third-party audit on the Tether reserves? Lean into the transparency. Why wouldn't they? What do you have to hide? It's not, that's what I don't get. And so that's what I'm looking forward to, is seeing Circle come to the XRP ledger, seeing Ripple work with their on-demand liquidity partners to issue currencies on the XRP ledger. I want to hold Well, Japanese, yeah, well, the the currency crisis is happening in Japan right now, isn't it? Right. But I was going to say, I would probably buy some Japanese yen if it was issued by SBI Holdings or a respectable bank out of Japan, right? That tokenized Japanese yen on the XRP ledger. I would buy some just cuz, right? Just cuz. I'd buy some and I'd add it to the AMM or something like that, right? Just cuz. But I would only do it if I knew it was issued by Yoshitaka Kitao at SBI Holdings or some other institution in Japan, right? That's what I'm waiting to see. So we get institutions issuing on the XRP ledger. We get these liquidity flows building up. We've already hit 1 million. We're just getting started. Okay. And so right now, please remain patient. This was never going to be a flip of the switch event, but this is the start of a new reality for the XRP ledger. Not only do we have legal clarity to distinguish ourselves amongst the rest of the space, but we also have utility that's actually going to work. And the liquidity problem is the biggest problem. That's why I'm glad that our ledger is focusing on that. And as I continue to say, the network around us of smart contract platforms from Zahao, from Flare, from Evernode, from Root. You guys let me know in the chat down below any other smart contract platforms on the XRP ledger that we're talking about. Folks, it's been an absolute pleasure here in the community. We see you guys are focused and locked in. This morning, we had a great 2-hour session in the Discord group. If you guys want access to that, you join through Patreon to get access to Discord. And all of my community resources are available at zachrector.com. All I ask, it is free to smash that thumbs up for me, and it's free to share out this content far and wide. Let's get your family, friends, and your loved ones tapped in as well. It is hitting right now. What just happened in the last 24 hours is going to be a moment in time that we look back on for the next 100 years as far as the world stage events. Now, we also are going to be looking back, I think, on the AMM starting on the XRP ledger too. Maybe not quite as big of it as an event, right? And I make that joke not discounting the loss of life at all. I pray every single day for peace on this planet, but these people are sick. But let's continue to put up the fight, guys. We have a massive amount of momentum behind our community. Let's take advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. I'm not just saying that. It's not just a meme. I showed you guys the data right there. The debate is between 50 trillion or 90 trillion. And we're all going to be participating in it. Let's get on the right side of this transfer. God bless all of you guys. And like I said, it's all at my website. I appreciate your support. It really means the world to me. And we got more content that's going to be coming tomorrow. So make sure you guys are subscribed. You don't want to miss any of our updates. We got some more interviews coming on the way. Let's keep it rolling, guys. I love all you guys. I'll see you in the next one. God bless you all.